Hello and welcome to another exciting, awesome, and amazing episode of Nucleus Live. I'm Kurt Theobald, CEO of Nucleus Commerce.
I'm Brian Lang, lead strategist at Nucleus Commerce.
And as always, we are highlighting the best of Magento because that's just what we do here. And today, not falling short at all in that call, we have Brendan Falkowski from Gravity Department with us, and if we had a button for cheering, we would press it right now. Brandon, welcome to the show. Wow, he's self-clapping.
I'm modest. Hey,
So-
good morning, guys.
So Brendan Falkowski is a contributing partner with Nucleus Commerce, and that was just such an epic win. We won't tell him how much of a dance we did after we hung up on that call when he said that he was cool with it, because we were very pleased to have him. So
Yes.
we think the world of Brendan. Brendan, there's a lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot, actually there's probably just a few people that don't know you. So can you give us just a little bit of background of your involvement with Magento and how you got involved, and just give a little bit of a history lesson on Brendan Falkowski.
Sure. Let's see. I started working with Magento back in mid-2009, so around the 1.3 days, fun times. And kind of got involved with a few little mom-and-pop sort of store projects, and then responsive design came along, and I somehow got on top of it at the right point in time. Did a lot of speaking with Magento and IRCE, some bigger implementations, Angry Birds, then started working for eBay Enterprise, and eventually Magento with the fine Classy Llama folks, you guys, and now Nucleus.
Yeah, so and actually,
a short
I remember
story.
back in 2012 when it was at Imagine 2012, and when everyone was oohing and awing over skinnyties.com. That was like,
Oh yeah.
coming alive of Brendan Falkowski, and everyone knew him because it's amazing. Look at it collapse, look at it expand. Everyone was just
Site
blown away by that.
awarded.
It was It was really well done, and everyone was like blown away. Really seeing tangibly the responsive approach being done well on the Magento platform. I mean, was that really a big, did you see a huge lift for yourself during that time in terms of people recognizing you, recognizing your authority in the space, and getting a lot of new opportunities? Was that like a lift-off point for you?
Yeah, I mean that project got a pretty huge amount of recognition, and actually it's weird because their analytics were totally trashed afterward because there was so much traffic coming to the site to see the site that their conversion rate went down like 80%.
Oh, goodness. That's awesome.
But we didn't, you don't feel bad about it because it's still more eyeballs, and I'm sure they got more sales out of it in the end.
No doubt.
But yeah, that was a pretty big project for me.
That's amazing. And then you then you went on and you did Angry Birds, which is amazing. I don't know. Was it? I know with Classy Llama, they bid on Angry Birds and they came in second place. Did they come in second place to you, or was that on a separate project?
I think it might have been separate.
I think it was AOE. Yeah.
It was
AOE, you beat Classy Llama, and we'll never forgive you.
The AOE guys are nice though.
They are now.
No, they are. They're good.
I had actually pitched on it right after the first Imagine talk, and then we spoke for a few months about doing some stuff together, and then eventually they said no. They were going to go in a different direction.
Nice.
And then they came back like 4 or 5 months after that and said, okay, we actually do want to go responsive, and we want to start now. They called me on Thanksgiving Day. They're Finnish, so they don't celebrate Thanksgiving. So they didn't know. And they're like, well, when can you come? And I'm like, well, it's a holiday here. And they said, okay, can you fly out tomorrow? I said, yeah, well, basically I did, and I flew out 2 days after that.
Wow,
That's amazing.
That's awesome. So then from Angry Birds, then you certainly did a lot of work with eBay Enterprise and Magento. What the eBay Enterprise work? Which project was that? Are you able to share that?
That, like most things after Angry Birds, have been NDA, aside from the Magento project, so...
Okay. Fair enough.
Sorry to be a spoiler.
No, that's okay. I kind of assumed that. But then with Magento, of course, you worked with Classy Llama releasing the 1.9, 1.14 responsification of the theme, but really just re-architecture of the Magento reference theme.
Right.
So that got obviously a lot of attention as well, which is really cool. So now you're working with Nucleus, which is really great, and we're really excited about it. But I wanted to just touch on, before we go into like what specifically you're doing with Nucleus. I really feel like there's been a thirst in the Magento ecosystem for innovation, and like I mentioned right at the beginning of the show, that's something that I think the Magento ecosystem wants more from people like you and other developers in the space. Is that something that you've been aware of in terms of that there being that drive for more innovation in the ecosystem?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit different than a lot of agencies in that I don't talk to new prospects every day, but I get a fair amount of inquiries still that are looking for small things and very big projects. I kind of see that whole spectrum, and I also sell themes. So there's sort of the very, very light end of the spectrum where they're coming and they just say, hey, we need an e-commerce system, but we're not totally bought into the Magento community like everyone else is. And they're looking around, and there's so many options for them.
Mm-hmm.
As a small guy and as a big guy too, it's very, very difficult to know what's good, who do you trust, because you can get advice from anyone in the ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
And then even beyond just what's a good thing to do, what's really going to help propel my business forward. And a lot of that means you're going to have to integrate companies that are building really, really amazing products, but they're not ingrained together, working on it side by side. So from my perspective, the innovation side of what can make Magento as an ecosystem become a lot more effective and beneficial and powerful for the merchant is just having all those things brought together in a managed way and identifying new partners as they come online. Because it's not, there's a lot of talk about there's sort of a club and people that are in and people that are out, and I don't buy into that at all. I think the community highlights the people that are really doing good work, and I really hope that's what Nucleus becomes in the future, a way to pull people up that are really investing in just the people around them doing this work. And I think long term that's going to really benefit merchants because they don't want to have to go out and do that vetting process for every new technology and feature and extension. That's, I think, the most valuable service we can really provide with Nucleus.
Yeah, and that's interesting. We were talking about this exact thing with Mac McDougall from Extension Galaxy, the challenge that merchants have coming into the Magento ecosystem. It's kind of like the thing that makes Magento so amazing, the huge spectrum of offerings around it and the community around it. That thing that makes it so amazing and beautiful is also the thing that makes it challenging and difficult to wrap your hands around. And so the more guidance we can give them, the better. And I know that's Matt McDougall's heart and his mission with what he's doing with Extension Galaxy. And certainly it's our hearts with Nucleus Commerce as well. I love that you mentioned those new players that come in. Just because they're new doesn't mean they shouldn't be, endorsed. Doesn't mean they don't have something really valuable to offer. Actually, our site search solutions from Clayvu, they're a relatively newcomer to the party, but we've been looking for a solid site search solution at a reasonable price point, and I'm really excited about what they're doing.
Excited.
And so we've incorporated them into Nucleus Commerce as a vetted solution. But yeah, I think it's really interesting what you're saying is it's not just that merchants are thirsty for innovation. They need the innovation that exists in the ecosystem already. They just need it, they need the cream to be brought to the surface for them so they don't have to go, deep diving for it. As a very significant need in the Magento ecosystem.
And I mean, Nucleus is so well positioned to do this as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think one of the things that we're doing is we're really we're empowering developers to be able to focus on what they love to do and what they're really good at doing, and then we're able to take that and market it and make people aware of it. The good work that they're doing, especially for new players, that can be really hard to get that kind of recognition. So really excited, as Nucleus is moving forward. And the ability that we're going to have to do that is going to be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, because there's the stuff where it's already there, the innovation's already there, and then there's this whole other category of things that need to be developed or built into Magento or added, and that custom piece is something like we're working with you, Brendan, on the theme. I am curious, like, I'd like to maybe for you just to express why did you partner with Nucleus? What was the attraction for you, and kind of speak to that a little bit.
I just love you guys too much.
Is that it? Is that your final answer?
Yeah, I mean, I think we had a really good experience working together on the Magento 1.9 and 1.14 themes. And I'm a bit weird. I get to work with teams for long stretches at a time, and then they're kind of pushed out of the nest. Like they shouldn't need me around long term, so I'm always looking for the next thing to do. And we did the Magento RWD theme, and it's off and great. Soon we're going to have Magento 2 to start thinking about. But in the meantime, Nucleus is kind of this thing that hasn't really existed in any shape or form in the 6.5 years or so that Magento's been out in the world. And when you said, "Hey, Brendan, we're thinking of bringing all these people that we know together to build it," and we thought about you for the front end. One, I was flattered that you'd want to pull me back in for a project like this, and two, I said, of course. If someone's going to get their hands on the front end of the site, I want it to be me.
Yes, we want it to be you too.
That's great. So, and specifically, one of the things that I really want to do with Nucleus, I'm hoping that it accomplishes, is it kind of cuts out the extra stuff that developers don't really want to do and allow them to do the things they want to do, which is build great stuff and focus on building rather than on sales and marketing, that sort of thing. So, we're developing this creative business relationship with developers like you, where you're contributing and building alongside us, and we take care of the sales, the marketing, the business side of it, and then you get a rev share from the license. Is that was that an attractive model for you? Is it something that you think is going to catch with other developers?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, everyone who's a partner in Nucleus, I think, is doing sales and marketing and those things on their own.
Sure.
And to come into a new platform and say, okay, you have to do this on top of contributing and then do another marketing push, you're looking at, am I cannibalizing myself? Should I really be investing time away from my core products? Mm-hmm. And I think the fact that you guys are focusing on managing the business side of it and letting the technology contributors or design contributors bring in the pieces that are, fundamentally in their wheelhouse, that allows them to apply themselves much, much more efficiently and get the gains of having all those partners brought into one platform together. Because you really can't do that, me and Web Shop Apps and AIT and all the other companies independently. We're not ostensibly looking out for each other at the end of the month, but in this way we can kind of all be a collective.
Yeah, and that's so exciting to me, because we want to promote and create the environment, the culture for rapid innovation and rapid building. And I'm so excited because I know the value of focus, and if we get all the technologists and the designers focused on what they do best, then that's a huge gain. Not to mention the value of what we call hive marketing at Nucleus Commerce, which is where we bring all of these different pieces together, these influencers together, and we create a core. It's kind of like you said, they're not ostensibly supporting each other, but when you come together around something like Nucleus, you indirectly are, and everyone benefits from the pouring in of multiple rivers into one ocean, if you will. And so that's really exciting, because not only do we benefit from the focus of technologists and designers doing what they do best, but we also benefit from everyone allowing their rivers to flow into one piece, one vessel, and it benefits everybody. So I'm really happy to hear that you feel the same way, and obviously you wouldn't be contributing if you didn't feel some of the same things I feel about it. But that's awesome. So let's talk about the theme itself. Brian, did I miss anything that we need to talk about before jumping into the actual details?
No, I'm ready for the theme.
Okay, me too. We do need to talk about your beard and Imagine before the end of this, because anyone sees it, they're like, that's not Brendan. What happened to him? And we think it's amazing what happened to you. And you're a full-grown man now, and we think that's awesome. So no, but anyway, Brendan is trying to decide. Just so everybody knows, Brendan is trying to decide whether he's going to get his beard on Imagine or not. And so we need everyone to vote on that.
Hashtag Brendan's beard.
Brendan's beard. Yeah. So yeah, we'll just.
Twitter's going to be like useless for me for the rest of the day now.
All right, let's talk about the theme. I had to get that plug in for the beard, but
yes,
let's talk about the theme. So I'm gonna just kind of open this up to you, Brendan. Kind of talk through what what has excited you about what you're able to do with this iteration. You've had a long history of like learning new things. Every time you build out a new theme, a new thing, you're thinking about new ideas and getting challenged in new ways. What have you been able to take from the past and apply to Nucleus? And then is there anything new specifically for the Nucleus Commerce theme?
You dropped out for like 2 seconds there. Can you repeat just the last half
Sure,
sentence?
no problem. I said, what have you taken from the past that you learned and applied to Nucleus Commerce, and then anything new that's been really interesting or challenging that you've implemented in a new or unique way for Nucleus Commerce?
Yeah. Okay. So the Nucleus theme is kind of special in 2 ways. One, with the RWD theme, we kind of took what was the Magento front end and turned it on its head. And now that's about 9 months old, 10 months old at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people went back and they kind of relearned their whole workflow, to bring in SaaS, to understand responsive design. And the one thing that we absolutely didn't want to do was take all that and turn it on its head again. So you don't want to leave people high and dry with a brand new platform they have to learn. So the things that make the RWD theme really, really good and flexible for a merchant to take and base their store on, we're keeping that in Nucleus as a starting point. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, when we did the RWD project, that was now a year, 13, 14 months ago. There's a lot has actually changed in the way that we think about structuring sites is different. And a really, really big, cool new part of the Nucleus theme is that we're taking a pattern library-driven approach. So there are a lot of components that a marketing team might want to use to build out their site. Say they're making a special landing page for a new category launch, or they want to, feature a brand on their site, and they want to build, interactive, high-quality visual content. You have to go to a designer and you have to go to a developer to get that stuff built today. And that just takes time, and you, a lot of cases, don't have the budget to do it as a merchant because you're doing it a one-off every time. It's something different. But if you look at it from a bigger picture, sort of like the 10,000-foot view, you see that there's actually a lot of components that are similar between those promotions and landing pages and home pages. So what we're trying to do in Nucleus is abstract them out to individual pieces and build them in a flexible way. So if you're an admin, user or marketer, you can go in and then say, okay, I want to, put a carousel and then have a block that features, a set of products and then a big full screen promo. You can just pull those out of static blocks, copy paste them, and just change the URL to an image link, and then that's it. So you don't have to go back to the developer every time. You don't have to go to a designer and say, hey, can you mock up this whole page? And the other nice thing is, from a technology perspective, when you're deploying all this code, you're not making 6 versions of it. You're making 1 version of that pattern. And then if you update it in one place, it applies anywhere that pattern's been deployed. So you're really making the maintenance of the site a lot simpler, so you're reducing costs, and then the actual time that it takes to build new pages or promotions is going down, and they're more consistent. And they work across devices. So you're really checking many boxes. This new functionality.
You talk about this like de facto kind of, this is what we're doing. It's just the state of where things are at. And I'm like, my mind is blowing. And I'm like, I know marketers are going to hear this. They're just going to freak out if they really understand what you're saying. So we've built out this pattern library concept. It's a very techie term, and if you don't understand it, it's okay. I didn't either when I first heard it, and people like Brendan had to walk me through it. But the idea of the pattern library is you have all these different constituent parts that we've built out, and they're ready for you in the Nucleus theme in the back end. We give you demonstrations of how they look on the front end so you can see that in the theme, but really the power is behind the scenes. You have all these ready to go. You just pull them out. You have basic HTML knowledge, and you can build out whole pages with really interesting dynamic content. And that's what's beautiful about what we've done with Nucleus. It's not about just making something look pretty on the front end. It's about empowering marketers to move efficiently, unhindered by the technology obstacles, and unhindered by the need to go to a developer or designer, like Brendan said, to get things done. And if there's one thing that I know marketers need, they need to move fast. And if there's one frustration point I hear from them all the time, it's, I am waiting. I'm always waiting for this thing to happen. We're unhinging that. We're releasing that. We're letting you go to do what you need to do. So I am so excited. And the cool thing about the library is that we've got a lot more that we can add to it. And Brian, I'm not sure. I know we're trying to make this happen. I'm going to ask live. Are we going to be able to add components to the library in between releases?
Why don't people come to our lunch party at Imagine on Monday night at Tryst and find out?
Because we don't know yet?
Because no, I'm not saying that.
Okay, all right.
I'm just saying I'm really excited about our lunch party, and I want people to come and find out about our product there.
This is how Brian goes. Brian plays everything like, he's all strategic. I'm like, let's just tell him everything right now. So, all right, fine. We'll manage some intrigue here. You want to find out about what we're doing with the pattern library and how we are continuing to support marketers on an ongoing basis, then come to the Tryst nightclub on Monday night at Imagine. It's going to be ridiculous. It is the largest partner-driven party, hands down, ever held at Imagine, and Brendan will be there. So that's another reason to come. He's going to have this big bushy beard. By then it's going to be like this.
Hashtag Brendan's beard.
He's going to wag around at the party. I'm going to bring him on stage. Just wag that thing. So
I'm going to have velvet ropes so people don't do too much.
They're going to be grabbing your beard. And, yeah, it's going to be tough. No, so anyway, that's really exciting. So fine. We won't say whether we have it. And I'm still wondering whether we have it. Just so everybody knows, live, I'm still wondering whether our product is going to have this or not. So I really hope that it does. But
we're hard at work. We're doing as much as we can. But kind of like you said, it doesn't necessarily have to be Nucleus pushing out new patterns too, because once you get your hands on the code base for it, we said we're giving marketers tools to build stuff without designers and developers, and that's what they want to hear. But I know the designers and developers that are listening, they don't want to hear how they're being cut out, and they're not. What we're giving you is a structure to build this stuff. So if you have a pattern that you need for your store and it's not Nucleus, you can take the same approach and methodology that's laid out and implement it, and then anyone in your organization can take that and run with it.
Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up, Brendan, because, how amazing is it for you as a developer designer to be able to add that kind of value to those that you're serving, those that you're contributing value to, your clients. You can say, hey, I'm not just going to build this for you once. I'm going to build it in a way that you can use it over and over and over again in the future. And as a developer and designer, again, that allows you to continue doing new, innovative things for your merchants. Again,
we kind of talked about this last time, or actually it was on the Llama Commerce show. But one of the beautiful things about Nucleus is we're taking care of basics that enable you, merchant, to be able to focus on customizing, differentiating, doing the things that you really want to do with the budget that you have. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So and honestly, we that was our focus at first. Build out the bread and butter basics. The cool thing is, because of the approach we're taking, because of the ability to bring in other developers' contributions, we've been able to go beyond that and build out some really cool innovations as well. On top of that, so we built the great infrastructure. We brought in the bread and butter. Now we're getting beyond that. We're able to do innovative stuff. And as we continue, we always say around Nucleus Commerce, the best is yet to come. It's like a phrase internally here, because it's always true. We can always do more, and we're always pressing on that front. But yeah, you get the fundamentals, and then we're already making progress on the more on top of that foundation. So it's very exciting.
I'm always dreading when you pop into a meeting and say, hey, I just had an idea.
Which does happen.
Yeah, I'm the guy at Nucleus Commerce that everyone's always saying no to, just so everybody knows. I come into meetings like, I just saw this new thing on this site and I want it. And
that's like my entire job.
Brian's the guy who says no to me, and he has to do it in a very delicate way. He's very diplomatic about it, but in the end,
Kurt, we might be able to have that later, but not right now.
but that's so cool. That underscores the reality that the best is always yet to come. That we've got so much that we want to do, and I am so impatient. I just want to get this out to merchants as quickly as possible. And that's why I come into meetings. I'm like, guys, I've got something new, and you can't say no, and you have to include it. We must have it by this release. And then eventually I get a reality check from Brian. Well, Brendan, we're really, really excited to be partnered with you. I know you know this, but we are so excited to be partnered with you. Just so everybody knows, Brendan he is an independent guy. I've tried to hire him before. I put him in a headlock, I can't remember how many years ago, and said, it's time, Brendan, it's time. He said, no, not going to happen. So he is independent. He is available from time to time for consulting. And, oh, man, I mean, what an accelerator.
If you were able to get Brendan, you should consider yourself lucky above anyone else.
Absolutely, absolutely. He's an accelerator and a catalyst in terms of, doing what you're already doing. I know, Brendan, you kind of drop in, consult, guide, direct, and jump back out in a number of consulting gigs. Isn't that right?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's just a phenomenal opportunity for to have that kind of infusion of experience and guidance. It's been super valuable for what we're doing with Nucleus, of course. He's much more engaged in what we're doing, but even in the past, it's been invaluable for us to be able to reference Brendan and get thoughts from him. So strongly recommend him as a consultant, as an advisor in his field of expertise, especially around the responsive side of things, but really a broad range of UX on the Magento platform. He's the guy to go to. So huge fans of Brendan. Reach out to him. You can connect with him. Brendan, how about you give all of your connection points you want people to connect? Because I'll hand out your cell phone in a moment if you don't.
Hey, thanks for saying that. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, you can probably best reach me on Twitter, to be honest, at Falkowski. If you can't spell it, which no one can. Just Google Gravity Department. You should be able to find me through there.
Yeah, and actually we were about to ping you for the pre-show before when we were having a challenge connecting with you on the pre-show. I told Jesse to ping you via Twitter.
Yeah.
And he shot me down on that, so that's kind of sad. So I'm saying it live now in order to get back at him for shooting me down for not tweeting you pre-show to get you on the pre-show.
Wait,
so.
Didn't you actually do it, Jesse? Didn't you follow? Oh, you followed what I said, not
yeah,
what
Brian.
I said?
Jesse, our producer, obeyed Brian and not me. I'm the CEO, and I get no respect here.
I just have to say no sometimes.
Jesse knows when my ideas are bad, and so he just does what Brian says when he knows. So we've got a great team here at Nucleus. There's no order, there's no structure, nobody respects me, but we've got a great team. Well, Brendan, thanks so much for being on the show. It
all works out in the end.
That's right, it does work out. If you guys have any questions for Nucleus Live, we want to highlight the best of Magento. If you have someone that you're working with you think needs to be highlighted that's in the Magento ecosystem, let us know, because that's what we're here for, is really giving credit where it's due. Any newcomers to the Magento ecosystem that have something great to offer, we want to let the community know, we want to let merchants know about that. So get in contact with us because we're all about that. So until next time, we don't have any cool closing statements that we use. We'll think of something sometime, but for the time being, we'll catch you next time. We're having Nucleus Live about twice a week up until Imagine. A lot of cool people we're going to be featuring, a lot of cool partners. So stay tuned.
Thanks, Brendan.